Greetings. Welcome. Good to see you. My name is Amir Bemji. Every person alive experiences some stress all the time. As Dr. Hans Selye, the father of work on stress, stated, and I quote, "The only person with no stress is a dead person." So we're all going to feel stress. So the question becomes, how do we deal with it? And if we don't deal with it the way we should, it can become debilitating and make life and living miserable. If a person with low self-esteem comes home from a bad day at work, experiences an awful traffic jam on the way home, and he comes home and shows his frustration from the moment he walks in through the door, and telling him, stop being so negative, just be positive, will not do it. You can help by asking him probing questions and understanding what in his mindset is making him feel that bad. The main point is to address stress in its totality, in a comprehensive way. You need to focus not just on the physical activities, which are important, but you also need to focus on the mental aspects. It's part mental, part physical. In this module, we will focus more on the mental aspects, which is not to say that the physical aspects are not important. It's part physical, part mental. We need both. So by understanding the programming in your mind, you are halfway to the cure. This approach to managing stress from the perspective of your mindset is a different and effective way to manage stress. First, some very basic stuff about stress. Stress is defined as the body's response to physical, mental, or emotional pressure. Stress is part of life. There's no escaping stress. A normal traffic jam can cause stress in one person and give someone else an opportunity to do some reflection on priorities for the day. You might not control the stress-causing situation. You definitely control how you respond. Dr. Hans Selye, who's done a lot of work on understanding stress, known as the father of stress, he has named two forms of stress: distress and eustress. Distress was considered destructive stress with negative impact on mind and body. Eustress was considered constructive in that it could motivate an individual to a higher level. You can change distress into eustress by changing your perspective. What is more important to remember is that long-term wear and tear from daily stress has a cumulative effect on the body and mind. Hence, all the more reason to learn how to turn distress into eustress. And a good part of the ability comes from understanding your mind. And before we go there, let's understand the generalized process for how stress is generated as either distress or eustress. Start with the situation that you experience. And as an example, let's take the situation where a colleague at work is being negative with you. Two individuals, A and B, observe the same situation and see the same negative behavior. Each one, depending on their individual mindset, interprets the same situation differently. A feels hurt to hear negative talk from the colleague and reacts in kind, tit for tat, get even with the negative comments. A leaves feeling not very good about the experience. On the other hand, B feels sorry to see a colleague behave this way and takes a moment to get his thoughts together and responds, I feel very good about myself and something has happened to you for you to make those negative comments. I believe you are much better than that. If you want to talk about what you are going through, then I am available. Let me know. Take care. B leaves feeling better about the interaction and experience. One of the best ways to address situations that can cause stress is to put them in perspective. The big picture perspective. To be able to do this, you have to have a big picture in your mindset. You might want to watch the video Module 4 on the future to understand and create the big picture perspective where you have a life purpose that pushes you forward for a purpose, a vision, what that life with a purpose will look like, and life goals to which you can align your short-term and long-term goals. Now let's take a look at the situation where you get caught in a major traffic jam, knowing that your plans for the day are out the window. Yet this awful traffic jam pales in comparison to the big picture perspective, which is where your long-term focus is. And that big picture perspective is not threatened because of the current situation. So if you have not already developed that big picture perspective that you feel passionate about, it is worth taking some time to reflect on it. What is the basis of our behaviors? Why do two people react so differently in the same situation? One experiences distress and the other eustress. It is the program in your mindset. This time I'm going to start with a quote at the top from the great Mahatma Gandhi. Two things you know from observation of Gandhi's life. He did not worry what others thought of him. And he was driven by his life purpose with a passion. He stated, and I quote, "Your beliefs become your thoughts. Your thoughts become your words. Your words become your actions or behaviors. Your actions become your values." Mahatma Gandhi. So in response to the question I posed earlier, why do two people behave so differently in the same situation? It is their beliefs. Let's take a brief look at how the programming in the mindset can cause stress. First, beliefs. Your worldview is your basic beliefs about human nature, how the world works, and what life is about. Your views about religion, gender roles, work-life balance, etc. make up a part of your worldview, but includes much more than that. For example, if you believe that some people are just born lazy, then that can influence your interactions unconsciously and create conflict in relationships and lead to stress. If you believe that in general people are trustworthy and can be trusted, then if someone you really trusted deceives you big time, then it creates stress, confusion, and self-doubt. Expectations. Often driven by a desire to impress others, we create expectations of perfectionism of ourselves. Tendencies towards perfectionism have been described as self-abuse of the highest order or a process of slow death. Truth is, perfectionism is not realistic. Perfect people are not real, and real people are not perfect. Values. People experience stress when they act contrary to their values. Sometimes we want so much to please others and get a pat on the back that when someone asks us if we can do something, then even though we would rather say no, we go ahead and say yes against our better judgment. We overload ourselves with stuff that we should not be doing, all because we could not say no. So in this instance, what are our values? If you take a look at the behaviors, then the values reflected by the behaviors are the inability to say no suggests the value of wanting to please others is more important. Yet if you ask people about the values, they would say that honesty and being authentic is more important to them, and even more than pleasing people. See the conflict in values based on our behaviors versus values we hold in our mindset based on our beliefs. And this conflict can create stress. While we focus on the mental aspects of managing stress, let us not forget the physical aspects for dealing with stress. The main point is the full cure for stress is part physical, part mental. This is also true for building all life skills, including anger management, presentation skills, relationship building, leadership skills, becoming a good listener, problem solving, etc. They are part physical, part mental. What are your favorite physical activities that help you in managing your stress, even if it is for a limited time? Mine is what the great American naturalist, poet, and philosopher Henry David Thoreau liked, as he stated, and I quote, "An early morning walk is a blessing for the whole day." True for Henry David Thoreau and very true for me as well. There's a lot for you to reflect on based on the discussion so far. I hope you feel the way I do, that our mind offers us a great opportunity for a novel approach to understanding and managing stress. What are your takeaways from this discussion? My singular, unstated takeaway has been, don't blame others for the stress you experience, because you control the perspective with which you see the stress-causing situation, and you can change that. As William James, the father of American psychology, stated, and I quote, "The greatest weapon against stress is our ability to choose one thought over another." In other words, we can choose our perspective of a stress-causing situation in a way that it generates distress or eustress. That's our choice to make. And we got to own up to our responsibility. As usual, I welcome your questions, comments, and feedback. I will look forward to seeing you in our next module. In the meantime, you take care. Have a great day. Stay well. Goodbye.